you use Netflix or YouTube on a normal basis? Well, how would you guys like it if your favorite show or channel was not available just because of where you lived? Well, for some people, sports are their Netflix and their YouTube, and some of them can't play their favorite sports because they're not provided at their schools. For example, at Springfield, we don't have a middle school tennis, swimming, bowling, or soccer team. They just now included a baseball team this year. So why would you have all these sports at the high school and not at the middle school level? We should have these. One, all of these teams, the longer you play together, the better you guys bond. And the more bond you have on the field and playing with each other, the better your team's going to be in the future. Like, if you look at the teams now, like professional teams, they practice years before competition. Like the Olympic teams, they're probably out practicing right now just to get their bond down for their team, so they play better on the fields as a team, as a unit. So why also would you have fall sports such as volleyball and football when you don't have soccer? Well, think about it. Football is going to be more expensive to provide than soccer. You've got the padding, you've got the helmets, you got the fields, the stadiums, you got to keep up with all the concessions and everything because it's a bigger sport. Where in soccer, if you had the teams, you could use the same stadiums. You wouldn't have to buy stadiums. Most kids, they'll want to go out and buy their own cleats and shin guards. Really, you only have to provide concessions at events. Even if you don't even have to provide that, that's the district's decision. And you would only have to provide transportation to events and uniforms. So why wouldn't you have those things? Like we have track, but not tennis. Both of these sports are going to be a good workout for your kids in the districts, but there are not people who just always like to run. There are people who actually would rather sit and play tennis. Well, you're not sitting, but still. And so I know that some of the dangers of having more sports are there. Like a swimmer, they could drown during competition. But the same thing goes for a high school student. The more experience you give these middle school students, the less chances there are of that happening. And so So why wouldn't you have the sports that are considered the cheaper sports to provide at your schools? Why would you go and provide the more expensive ones? Like softball, you got to keep up with the fields. You got to make sure they're in condition. Where some of the fields for like soccer, they can be multi-purpose. They don't have to be just for soccer. You can paint the lines differently. There's ways to use the same field for both sports. And they have done studies that show that kids who are more involved with things at their school stay out of trouble, and they get better grades. For example, at my graduation this year, we had our top 10% of our class sitting on the stage. Every single one of those kids not every single one of them had been involved with some sort of activity after school. Only 3 of them were only involved in clubs. The other ones were involved with at least one sport throughout the year. They kept their grades up so they could play their sports. Because if you don't have the grades, you don't get to compete. And if you have these sports in the evening, this is keeping kids off the streets and out of trouble that way too. So, so think back to your Netflix and YouTube. You see what I'm saying? This is what these kids feel like throughout the year. Well, they're watching people play their favorite sports, but they can't because they're not provided. These kids, they have to find other leagues to play in. They have to find rec club or select leagues to play in just to get the extra practice that they want to do because they love this sport. So think about what your other peers are in, their situation. it's important to them. Just like you have stuff that's important to you. So think about it.